Welcome, everybody, to Rocking at the Movies. My name is Shane Comley-White, and we are here with a special guest from the History Channel, one of their very own, and that is Doug Marcaida. So he is part of the Forge and Fire team, and he is one of the expert judges who's got over 25 years experience and is an edged weapon specialist. Welcome, Doug. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to hearing everything that you have to tell our viewers and myself. So we're all willing to learn.
Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for having me over.
Only a pleasure. Only a pleasure. All right. So just to get started, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into the martial arts and what your training is or your background in the training is, and how martial arts became part of your lifestyle?
Yeah, well, I've been studying martial arts pretty much all my life. I've been doing this particular system about 35 years. I started off during my childhood as a very troubled child, I guess, very naughty, getting into a lot of fights and all of that, simply because I had a lot of issues. But when I started getting into my teenage years, my father started to realize you're getting into too many fights. And growing up in the Philippines, I was born and raised in the Philippines before I migrated to the US. Fights and fraternity gang fights and everything started to become weapon-based. The martial arts I took then was the classical arts like taekwondo, kickboxing, karate. But when it started to get into weapons, I had a big fear of knives, seen too much with a lot of bladed assaults and everything else. So I had a big fear of that, so I stayed away from that. But the martial arts started to develop in me a sense of discipline. I thought I was going to learn martial arts so I could kick ass even better. I can now do it with style, I thought, because that was my mindset. But instead, it actually disciplined me and started to make me a better person. Martial arts was making me a better person, not a bitter person.
Yes.
Later on, when I migrated to the US, I joined the US service. I was in the Air Force. And by that time, I wanted to get back into the martial arts. And we had like a little club there, I guess, in those early days. This is way back in the late 80s. Yeah, that's how old I am. We started doing a little bit of a fight club, a martial art club. And we had sparring sessions. And I started sparring this one particular gentleman who was throwing me everywhere. And I'm like, wait, I'm not ready. Let's kickbox again. So I'm going in there, boxing and everything. He throws me to the ground, picks me up. And at that time, Steven Seagal was popular, Above the Law was a movie game. So I was like thinking, wow, is this Aikido? It's unbelievable. Yeah. I love the way you're throwing me and knocking me down. And he goes, no, it's called Kali. I'm like, Kali? Right. Never heard of that. What is that? Oh, it's a Filipino martial arts. Whoa. I'm Filipino. Okay. I grew up in the Philippines. Never heard of Kali. He goes, oh, it's also known as Arnis and Eskrima. Oh, those are the terms we use at home. But that's stick fighting, where your sticks. And he looks at me and goes, you kidding me? Because if I can fight with weapons, you think my hands are not going to be easier? Wait, something's going on over here. Then he pulls out a butterfly knife. When he pulled out a butterfly knife and showed that, my fear came back. I saw the knife again. But he goes, this is what Kali is about. And he showed me and guided me. And then when I finally faced my fear by learning the way of the knife, by learning what weaponry was, I realized it doesn't matter what's in your hands. It's what you do with it. Yes. So the true weapon is me. I am the weapon. Doesn't matter what I pick up. Yeah. And I started to respect that from that point of view. And that's how I got addicted to martial arts, because it not only gave me the discipline I was looking for, but it gave me a confidence to do what is right. I remember I was afraid of weapons. And I kind of looked at, you see, the Filipino martial arts, the old style was really a weapon system that was delegated to the poor, delegated to, or at least connected to criminals because they carried knives, they fought with knives, or gangsters. So in our own country, that particular way of fighting or studying was not considered honorable because they fought with weapons. So it was not a popular martial art. It was always for the masses, never for the upper classes who looked at the classical arts of taekwondo, aikido, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or other stuff. Always the weapon arts, no, that's only for criminals. But times have changed. When I started studying it from the guy, he definitely wasn't a criminal. He was a man of honor. And I started to look at it by facing a martial art that gave me confidence to find out, number one, who I was again.
Yeah.
Number two, a way of the warrior is so that a warrior should be able to do what is right and never feel that the lack of ability to set things right is missing.
Oh, that's
Meaning,
awesome.
I can set something right because I have something to make me do what's right. Meaning, doesn't matter how good I am with my hands in kickboxing. If I'm facing 10 men who are trying to rape, let's say, for example, a woman, I'm limited in what I can do.
Mm.
Give me a knife, I'll clean a house. Because
Yeah.
now I can fight. I have the ability to set things right. And that mentality alone goes, I like that. You're giving me the confidence to do what is right. You're giving me the confidence to be really, truly honorable with integrity.
Yes.
Not the bad part. I can always look at the bad part. It's there. But the art gave me that it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be an art for criminals.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got into it.
No, that's brilliant, because I've always said to all of my students, don't always look at one style as the only and ultimate style. You know, you have to be a little bit more diverse and train different arts, different weaponry, different things to find what suits you as a person. And what I always do whenever we've got other students coming from a different style, if you want to call it that, I say, you've got a backpack on your back, an imaginary one. Put all those tools in, and when you need to pull out the one that you need at that time, that's what that's for. But don't think of it as an aggressive toolbox. You know, it's something there that you need at that time for your own safety and the safety of your loved ones and anyone else that you're looking after. So I really, really like the way that you put that as well. So it's a tool that you've got out of the discipline and the art that you've learned. So thank you so much. That was great to hear, actually. A different
Universal. Yeah, it doesn't matter what arts we're from when you look at it. And I like the idea that you say you encourage people to study everything. We are students of life. Martial art is life. People think martial arts is, okay, we go to the dojo, we bow, we train. No, we live it. You know, everything that we do, to me, is martial arts. In Forge and Fire, I'm a judge over there. But I see martial arts in the bladesmiths. I can tell when I see a master bladesmith or somebody who conducts himself with so much confidence and harmony in the way they're building their knife, I go, he's a grandmaster. He's doing martial arts right there. The stance, the way he uses body mechanics when he's hammering or forging out the blade, I see the same thing. It may not be in fighting. Martial arts is not about fighting. It's a way of life.
Well, I was saying the same thing to one of my other students a little bit earlier today, that people who do parkour, that is classified as a martial arts as well. So it's not just the kicks and the punches. So it's actually amazing to hear other people say the same thing. It is the way you conduct yourself rather than the techniques that you're learning to do it with. So that's my view as well. So brilliant. And then how did you get into Forge and Fire? Because that to me is like an ultimate job where you can cut things up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. By that time, I actually when I got out of the Air Force, when I was in the Air Force, I studied cardiopulmonary. So when I got out, I was in the medical field for 21 years. I was a respiratory therapist in the hospital. That was my job. But I never gave up on my passion of martial arts. I was always teaching on the side. I started to develop a fan base for my martial art teaching. I started to do seminars all over the world during my free time. As I was doing seminars all over the world, a lot of my students who were there were people who go to fights. That means you have the civilian populace that get into fights. They shouldn't.
Yes.
But you have those that go into fights, and those are the professionals, whether they be military or law enforcement. So these trainers brought me into their world, and I started learning, say, okay, now let's develop programs. That's how I became a military contractor. Okay. So while I was doing my hospital job, I had a school, and I was getting into military contracting where I was teaching law enforcement and military. During that time, I started putting a lot of videos on YouTube, and I joined a tactical media group where I was putting my videos out. So when Forge and Fire concept came out, they started looking in YouTube. They found me. They go, we need an end user. This guy seems to know what he's doing with knives, so let's have an interview. And I did an interview, and I got lucky.
Wow, that I must say, you are very lucky to get that job.
Very lucky. Are you kidding me? It's not a job. It's my passion. I get paid for it. Wow.
If not, why not?